I'm going to adjust the composition of the asteroid, just enough to change its magnetic field and shift its course. A little nudge today, and Gavin will be nowhere near the Earth in 900 years' time.
He activated the sonic screwdriver, and a wave of distorted energy erupted from its tip, forming into pulsing rings that streaked towards the asteroid. The Doctor braced against the device, tensing to control its erratic energy as it struck the pitted, rocky surface. Gas erupted from a newly formed fracture, jetting into space, pushing the asteroid into a violent spin.
Is that supposed to happen?
Rose shouted over the noise of the sonic. The Doctor deactivated the device, watching in disbelief as the surface of the asteroid began to splinter.
It's not ideal,
he admitted. The tumbling asteroid fell towards the sun as fragments broke away. The remaining rocky core accelerated into the embrace of the star's surface, and a column of fire spewed outwards.
Well,
Rose said, stretching the word into a sigh.
Problem solved. Crispallion?
The Doctor stared at his sonic screwdriver with a sheepish expression of surprise.
I overestimated the magnetic density of the asteroid.
We all make mistakes. At least you saved your bookshop, right?
Maybe.
The Doctor disconnected the cable from the sonic screwdriver.
I changed the composition of the core, but I made it far too dense. Decimal places, they're tricky things sometimes.
But the asteroid is destroyed. No harm done?
The Doctor shook his head.
Not destroyed. It's still in one piece, falling into the core of the sun. It'll take years for it to be absorbed.
He stared at the view, watching, waiting.
Can we go now?
The Doctor didn't move, studying the glowing surface intently.
There,
he said at last, pointing to the sun. Rose stared at it, unable to see what was worrying the Doctor. The light hurt her eyes, and she stepped back from the door.
Look,
the Doctor insisted. On the turbulent surface of the sun, a dark circle had formed. Just a tiny blemish, but it was growing larger. Out of the ring came a column of plasma, erupting from the surface and racing into space.
Is it my imagination, or is it coming this way?
Rose asked, as she retreated from the doorway, feeling an unexpected sense of dread. The Doctor watched the erupting gas for a moment, before he closed the doors and ran to the console, throwing his goggles aside. Rose pulled off her own goggles and joined him there, watching as he worked the confusing array of dials and switches.
This shouldn't be happening,
the Doctor muttered as he stared at the small screen that sat on top of the console. Rose glanced at it, tried to make sense of the stream of data that it displayed, and promptly gave up. Instead, she stared at the Doctor's face, studying his bony features. His heavy brow was pulled into a tight frown, and she could tell by his urgent movements that he was worried. At the same moment, Rose heard a thunderous noise, and the two wooden doors flew open again. Without the protection of the goggles, the light was blinding. Rose shielded her face as a rage of hot air pushed into the TARDIS. The Doctor hit a switch to close the doors again, shutting the light out, but as Rose's eyes adjusted, she saw something unexpected inside the TARDIS.
What's that?
She shouted, looking up at a snake-like arc of light that was moving above their heads. It clung to the great mottled structure, a shifting tendril of electric plasma moving about the space as if it were alive.
I don't know,
the Doctor replied in a hushed voice as he put himself in between Rose and the phenomenon. The coil of shifting light traversed one of the columns, moving towards the console. Then it lunged at the Doctor, latching onto his body. Fingers of lightning curled around him, enveloping his dark shape in a chaos of white and yellow lines that stretched to cover his screaming face.